This life that we live is very strange and interesting. There can be some moments where you'll have a little peace, then it's destroyed in seconds. It takes such a long time to get peace, but then that same peace that took such a long time is destroyed in seconds. Not too long ago, my grandmother was alive, and what I find interesting is my grandma was alive. I rarely got sick. Like, I didn't get the stomach flu and throwing up and all this other stuff. Like, I didn't get that until after my grandma passed away. You know, um, even now, my subconscious, it finds it hard to believe. It wasn't just my grandmother. Other people in my family passed away as well, and it has its effects on you, especially when you're somebody that couldn't have seen that coming like that, right? The way it happened, the way my grandmother used to always pray, go to church, pay her tithes, and everybody just dropped like flies, one after the other. Everybody passed away. It was just horrible. And my little neat, I don't want to call it a sanctuary, but hell or place or base, whatever you want to call it, was forever compromised. And I was forced to be inside this wicked world, forced to be around, you know, toxic people, narcissistic people, and people that are just people that I would never associate with, but forced to associate with because of money, because of you need a place to stay, because of, you know, whatever factors that we all go through. I know a lot of us, you guys are in situations where you want to leave. You know how many people email me and tell me that they live with their parents or they live with somebody and how toxic it is to them and how it just, there's always fights, there's always this, there's always that. And it's like people like us, we really do need to find our own way where we can escape. It's extremely difficult dealing with loss and multiple losses within the same years, pretty much, and then dealing with homelessness, and then dealing with something that finally, I'm not going to say take off, but finally goes in some direction. You know, you go through all these things and you realize that this life, it just seems like it seems like the pain you go through is customized for you. Almost like there's somebody that knows all your weaknesses, they know all your strengths, and they make your life custom tailored, a custom tailored hell. So if you like to have control over your life, you won't have no control over your life. If you plan something that could really change your life and you planned it and this, that, and something comes out of nowhere to stop your plans, or it will let you accomplish that little plan and then something's going to get you on the back end. Like you've been saving up for that car, you finally get that car, then boom, the check engine light comes on like a month later. You're like, what the hell? And this is the time where you're truly broke. You ain't got no money. And the brake light comes on and something happens, and then it's just like, what? Everything was perfect. You got the car you wanted. You got your new Xbox controller. Everything was fine. But then now the car that brought you so much joy brings you so much pain. It's reprehensible that we live in a world like this. It is not excusable. Whoever created this world, whatever created this world, didn't have our benefits in its mind. It only had control, power, and its own sick, twisted fantasies. I've been sick for like 3 days straight, running a fever, stomach, back, head, sweating. I don't know what it is. I can't even sleep. You know, I threw up on a shirt, on one of my favorite shirts. I just threw up on it. You know, and that's how I know I'm getting old. You know, a burp turns to a cough, then it turns to a throw up. I'm like, fuck. Now I gotta clean this shit up. It stinks. I'm like, fuck me, man. Like, why did this happen? Why am I so sick? Right? Why do we get sick? Because when you get sick, bro, you start to realize how the human body is just, it's not really a freeing thing. It's a prison for a soul. It's a prison. You got to use the bathroom. You got to get water. If you get too much water, that's bad. You get too little water, that's bad. The same with food. You're eating the pieces of decaying flesh from animals. It's just, why do we live in a world where you have to tear something else down in order to build something up? That's what it feels like. Like something has to tear you down in order for them to build up. Meaning, in order for you to eat that food, it has like a chemical dye in there called a red 40, right? And the food is good what you get, but it has chemical dyes in there that slowly breaks down your body. But it tastes good in the moment, but it's not going to affect you for another 20 years. And then when you get cancer out of nowhere, they're going to be like, oh, well, it came out of nowhere. It's like, no, it didn't. It was the accumulation of the food you ate in integration with drinking out those plastic water bottles and all the freaking pollution that we're surrounded with every day, right? It's a combination of things over a period of years, not just one thing, right? But it's hard when you live in a world where telling the truth, the powers that be don't like that. As far as I could remember, I was always a truth teller. I always told the truth. I always talked about my experiences raw and uncut. Sometimes it got me into trouble. Sometimes it didn't. But one thing I can always say is always be real, no matter what. Always stay true to you and always be real to you, and the people that are real to you, right? If somebody helps you out with money and you didn't have no money and they gave you money, you make sure when you get your money up, you pay them back. You don't just ignore it and act like it didn't happen. This person gave you money when they weren't even rich themselves and they were helping you out. So when you get in the financial position, you make sure you give them that money back and you help them as they helped you. That's just fair. You help people when you can help them, right? If you can help somebody, you help them. Because that goes against the demiurge's program. The demiurge doesn't like that. I can't believe my grandma is really gone. And I'm stuck here in this world by myself, truly. I can't believe it. All those years, man, going down the drain. The prime time of a man's life is 18 years old to about 35. After then, it's like, who cares about a 36-year-old? Right? The prime dating ages are between 18 and 35, if I'm not mistaken. And if you haven't been chosen between the ages of 18 years old to 35 years old, you never had a wife, you never had a girlfriend, you never had any of those type of things, then you might as well just throw in the towel and say forget it. Because the chances of you obtaining those things are almost null and void, unfortunately. A crappy situation, but it's a situation that we have to face nonetheless. You know, I wish the world was different. I wish we actually had a chance to be successful in a world that's so stressful, that's so depressing, that's so alienating, that's so, it's just designed to hurt you. Man, this whole world is designed to hurt you. You know? It's crazy. Who would create a world like this? Who would establish a realm like this where you can feel alone as a man, not have a woman and be broke and poverty stricken and still get a disease, still get sick, still go through this, still go through that? It's like, what the fuck? It's like, do you want us to be miserable all the time? Look at the video games. Call of Duty has a company called Demonware which pretty much is an algorithm pattern that decides who wins gunfights in Call of Duty. So you may hit somebody first and still lose the gunfight simply because there's an algorithm in the background that dictates how much damage you do in real time. And people still don't know that about Call of Duty. Like, how stupid can people be? It's all over there. And then the big YouTubers are not going to talk about it because they get paid by Activision. You know? God. Like, one person I can't stand is Ghost of 8. You know what I mean? I can't stand him, but I'm not going to stalk him or bother him at all. You know, I'm just not going to watch his content because it doesn't relate to me. Right? And I don't like shills. I don't like people shilling for governments and shit like that. So I'm not going to watch him or even associate with him because I don't like him or like his content. It's that simple. But I'm not going to stalk him because that's fucking weird. Right? That's not what a normal human being does. In this world, you're going to find yourself in many situations and many different turbulent type of shit, you know, and activities that take place, and it's going to break you, man, and you're going to have to hang in there and be strong. But being strong for so long, it takes its toll. You know, you got to take medication. So you take some ibuprofen, but then the ibuprofen messes up your stomach lining, and it can cause internal bleeding or stroke. Then you try to take some probiotics, and that's to heal your stomach lining, but the ibuprofen messes with that. So your stomach hurts, your back hurts. It's like, damn. So you got one drug that counteracts the effects of the other drug. So it's like, wow. That's why I love natural remedies. You know, no side effects. All government manufactured drugs or medicine, what they call it, it all derives from original plant sources, most of them, right? So when they create an artificially constructed world of medicine, it makes billions of dollars, and the medicine never is designed to heal you. It's designed to take away the symptoms temporarily. But the symptoms come back, which means you get loosed. The powers that be on this world, they have to be in cahoots with the demiurge. Look how they design life. They design life to be as stressful as possible so they can produce loosh from us. Brutal.